First versus best draft pick from every NBA season draft since 2010. So this will be good. Since 2010, we've done a couple draft pick videos, but this one is a new video that's come out and people are saying it's very good. Before we get into it,
make sure you smash the subscribe and follow us and hype up this video.
Let's see what this is like.
Pick in the NBA draft is supposed to be a game changer, a franchise cornerstone.
On the drive, step back, puts it up, puts it in!
A chance for the team to land themselves a once-in-a-lifetime superstar.
Wembanyama's special. He's special.
But more often than not,
is.
the best player in the draft ends up being somebody that teams passed on entirely. Future All-Stars, NBA champions, MVPs, and some straight-up legends have slipped past teams while another player heard their name called first. So today, we're putting every #1 pick head-to-head versus the player who actually turned out to be the best in their class. Starting with
This will be
2010.
good.
The Washington Wizards select John Wall from the University of Kentucky.
John Wall was the consensus #1 pick in the 2010 draft after a dominant season at Kentucky. He offered an exciting package of speed and athleticism, similar to young stars like Russell Westbrook and Derrick Rose. Washington Wizards fans were immediately able to see this after his excellent rookie season, in which he came second in Rookie of the Year voting, falling short only to Blake Griffin. This was just a start for John Wall, as he went on to become a 5-time All-Star, make an All-Defensive team in 2015, and put together an MVP caliber season in 2017 with an average stat line of 23 points, 11 assists, 4 rebounds, and 2 steals per game. Wall also carried Washington back to relevance, leading the Wizards to multiple playoff appearances and 3 trips to the Eastern Conference semifinals. Unfortunately, Wall was never able to get Washington past the second round, and not long after his prime, a series of devastating lower body injuries completely derailed his career. The wildest of these injuries came in 2019 when he slipped on his way to the shower and ruptured his Achilles.
It's horrible for him. It's horrible for the Wizards.
Imagine just like that, you slipped on your way to the shower and career basically done from that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Anything can happen at any time, literally.
All things considered, John Wall is an insanely talented player who was never able to fully unleash his true talents thanks to injuries. With that being said, the best player in this class has to be Paul George. Drafted 10th overall by the Indiana Pacers, George flew under the radar during his first 2 seasons. But after winning Most Improved Player in 2013, George quickly developed into one of the best two-way wings in all of basketball, becoming a 9-time All-Star while putting together multiple MVP and Defensive Player of the Year caliber seasons.
Good start.
In 2011, the #1 overall pick was Kyrie Irving, heading to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Kyrie.
And in Cleveland, Kyrie Irving became an instant superstar. Irving started his career hot, winning the 2012 Rookie of the Year and never slowing down. He quickly established himself as one of the league's premier scorers, averaging over 20 points per game throughout his entire career, while also earning 9 All-Star appearances, 3 All-NBA selections, and being the second star behind LeBron James in the greatest comeback in NBA Finals history.
Irving and Curry.
That was epic.
That was crazy.
Kyrie Irving from downtown.
Unfortunately, injuries did begin to take a toll later on in his career. Despite that, he's still snatching ankles and getting buckets like no one else has ever seen to this day. But from a pure legacy standpoint, Kyrie can go down as the best player from this class. That honor goes to Kawhi Leonard, who fell to the 15th pick before being traded.
Kawhi over Kyrie? Damn.
Wow.
Guys, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah. I mean, I think they're both really good, so I don't know what to say.
They're both incredible players.
Yeah.
So it's hard
Chat,
to
what do
judge.
you think? Let us know in the YouTube comments as well.
Yeah, that is wild.
Yeah.
Headed to the Spurs. Leonard went on to become a 2-time NBA champion, 2-time Finals MVP, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, along with many other accolades. His greatest achievement, though, came in 2019 when he led Toronto to their first championship in franchise history during his only season as a Raptor. And now moving into 2012, this was one of the few drafts where the #1 pick actually ended up being the best player from the class. Anthony Davis entered the league as one of the most hyped up defensive prospects in years after dominating college basketball during his lone season at Kentucky. AD immediately lived up to expectations, quickly developing into one of the NBA's best players on both ends of the floor. Throughout his career, Davis has not only earned 10 All-Star appearances, but also made 5 All-NBA teams and built a reputation as one of the most dominant defenders of his generation. But his greatest achievement came in 2020, when he played a huge role alongside LeBron James in bringing the Lakers their first championship in a decade. And while players like Damian Lillard and Draymond Green also came from the 2012 class, Davis still easily goes down as the best player from this 2012 draft.
Oh.
Now, our first true bust of the video
He's
comes
above
from
them.
the 2013 draft.
With the first pick in the 2013 NBA draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Anthony Bennett of Toronto, Canada.
UNLV's standout freshman was the head of a notoriously weak 2013 class. He entered the league with the least amount of hype from any #1 pick we've ever seen, and Bennett somehow still managed to fall short of the little expectations placed on him, playing in 52 games with 0 starts as a rookie. His average stat line of 4 points and 3 rebounds a game simply didn't cut it. I don't think
that's crazy to be a #1 pick and you're just bench warming. I know you're a rookie, but still, look at like Cooper Flagg. He's
that's true.
carrying.
Why did they just leave him on the bench?
I think just like they said, it just the draft that year just wasn't as strong as other years, and even though you're #1, there's not much hype on that draft year.
Any #1 overall pick in the modern era has ever been traded instantly after their rookie season. Before his sophomore season, Anthony Bennett was traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves for a fresh start. Here in Minnesota, he played the best ball of his short-lived career, putting up a measly 5 points per game and only starting 3 games out of the 52 that he played in. Unfortunately, 2 years later, on his 4th team in 4 years, Bennett was out of the NBA. Like I said earlier, this class was historically bad, but I don't think anyone ended up worse than Anthony Bennett, which is insane considering he was the first player selected. However, there is one single player from this class who ended up defying the odds and actually became one of the greatest players we've seen in NBA history. And that is Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Greek Freak was selected 15th by the Milwaukee Bucks. And after one of the craziest physical transformations we've ever seen, Giannis made it known that he was here to stay. At only 26 years old, Giannis had accomplished nearly everything possible in the NBA. One-time NBA champion, Finals MVP, 2 regular season MVPs, and a Defensive Player of the Year award. You name it, and Giannis had done it. He is no doubt going down in history as one of the most dominant players in history of the game. Other standout players from this draft include CJ McCollum and Victor Oladipo, but no one comes close to Giannis.
With the first pick in the 2014 NBA Draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Andrew Wiggins.
Andrew Wiggins, I've seen his name.
Standing at 6'8", 200 pounds with a 44-inch vert, Andrew Wiggins was an easy #1 overall pick for the Cleveland Cavaliers. However, he never suited up for the Cavs. He was traded 2 months after the draft in a blockbuster deal that landed him in Minnesota. Remind you of somebody? To put the Andrew Wiggins hype into perspective, his nickname heading into the league was Maple Jordan. He quickly lived up to the hype, winning Rookie of the Year in 2015 after averaging 17 points per game. Following this, Wiggins ramped up his play, putting together tons of 20+ point per game seasons, but he never took that superstar leap that everyone expected from him. Nonetheless, Wiggins has never not been a very good NBA player. The best achievements of his career came in the 2021-2022 season, where he not only made his first ever All-Star appearance, but also played a key role in helping the Warriors win another NBA championship. Although Andrew Wiggins has had a great NBA career, the best player in the draft just so happened to be selected 41st during a Taco Bell commercial, and that player is Nikola Jokic.
Whenever you hear Taco Bell commercial, we know exactly.
Yeah, how dare they?
They fingers he was just another player.
It doesn't matter. You do not disrespect people. You just don't disrespect them. And now look at him today.
You tell them. You write them an email first.
I will pay them a visit.
From Serbia would soon become the greatest player in the world. A 3-time MVP, NBA champion, Finals MVP, an absolute triple-double machine. Jokic has completely redefined the center position. Joel Embiid was also part of this 2014 draft, being selected third, but he simply doesn't compare to Jokic.
With the first pick in the 2000
Embiid
I wonder why.
the Minnesota Timberwolves select Karl Anthony Towns from the University of Kentucky.
Cat immediately looked like a future superstar, averaging 18 points and 10
first
rebounds a
pick.
game on his way to winning the 2016 Rookie of the Year award. He quickly developed into one of the most unique offensive big men we've ever seen thanks to his elite shooting ability and overall scoring package. Throughout his career, Towns has earned multiple All-Star and All-NBA selections while establishing himself as one of the best shooting centers in NBA history.
After all that,
I still think the best player from this class ended up being his college teammate.
You're right there, Fats.
That was a bit fruity.
That was a bit zesty.
Devin Booker, who was selected 13th by the Phoenix Suns. It only took Booker 1 season until he established himself as one of the league's most dangerous scorers. His most notable moment came in 2017 when he dropped 70 points against the Celtics. At only 20 years old, he became the youngest player to ever reach the 70-point mark. Fast forward, and D-Book was also the offensive engine who led the Suns to the finals in 2021. Booker has continued developing into one of the NBA's most complete offensive players. And while Cat has absolutely had a great career, Booker's playoff success and ability to lead an offense gives him the slight edge for now.
With the first pick in the 2016 NBA Draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select Ben Simmons
Okay.
Ben Simmons, heard of him.
The Philadelphia 76ers thought they found their guy in the 6'10", 240-point forward out of LSU. The Sixers hoped that Simmons could elevate their squad to the next level and finally make the process worth trusting. And while he did have to sit out his true rookie year due to a foot injury, he'd immediately fulfill the prophecy once he did start playing. By putting up 16, 8, 8, and 2 steals a game, he'd easily win Rookie of the Year despite the media's arguments about his eligibility. He followed up this stellar rookie season with 3 consecutive All-Star appearances as well as 2 first-team All-Defensive selections. By this time in his career, Ben Simmons was undoubtedly one of the best defenders and playmakers in the entire league. So far, he was living up to the hype of a #1 overall pick. This was until the 2021 season. Simmons' shooting struggles were always apparent in the league, but he didn't need a jumper, or so we thought. His free throw struggles began to plague his confidence so badly to the point where he famously passed up a wide open dunk in a crucial Game 7.
Oh, that was him. Gemma, we saw that.
That's why he did that.
I mean, like, why the hell did he pass? Yeah. He doesn't have finesse. That's why. Damn.
Which they obviously lost. Simmons' relationship with Philly's front office quickly took a turn for the worse. He refused to report to training camp, held out, and demanded a trade, which eventually got him sent to the Brooklyn Nets, where we all know careers go to die. Upon arrival in Brooklyn, Simmons' lingering injuries would only become even worse. Across 3 seasons, he only appeared in 90 games while looking nothing like the player he once was. Eventually, this led Brooklyn to buy out his contract and waive him before he landed a brief, forgettable stint with the Clippers. It's hard for me to call Ben Simmons a true bust considering how great his career started off, but he certainly doesn't go down as the best player from this draft at all, especially when players like Jamal Murray, Pascal Siakam, and Domantas Sabonis were all a part of this draft. But even after listing all those names, Jaylen Brown, who was selected 3rd by the Boston Celtics, is clearly the best out of that group. Over time, Brown has evolved from a raw athletic prospect into one of the league's most complete two-way scorers and an elite playoff performer. He's now made 5 All-Star teams and become a top-tier scorer. His biggest achievement, though, was leading the Celtics to their first championship in 15 years and becoming the Finals MVP. It doesn't seem like we've seen all that Brown has to offer either. He just took the Celtics from a projected gap year and carried them to the 2 seed, although they were ironically upset by the Sixers.
With the first pick in the 2017 NBA Draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select Markelle Fultz.
In 2017, the Philadelphia 76ers found themselves with the #1 overall pick again after the Celtics decided to trade down. Do you see a pattern here? Fultz entered the league as one of the smoothest guard prospects we'd seen in years, thanks to his elite shot creation, scoring ability, and overall offensive package. They were calling this man the next James Harden, and the Sixers fully believed that he could form a super team alongside Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons that would dominate the Eastern Conference for years to come. But almost immediately, things started to go wrong. Before his rookie season truly got underway, Fultz began dealing with mysterious shoulder issues that completely changed the trajectory of his career. Markelle's once smooth jump shot suddenly looked broken, destroying his confidence and turning him into a completely different player offensively. Unfortunately, injuries continued piling up and Fultz never came close to becoming the superstar Philly expected him to be. Although he eventually rebuilt parts of his career in Orlando and became a solid NBA player once again, a devastating ACL tear put a stop to his resurgence.
The pain in his face.
Sadly, he never lived up to the expectations that come with being the #1 overall pick. The craziest part of this entire story is that the Celtics, who traded that #1 overall pick away, still ended up with the best player in the class again, Jason Tatum. Tatum immediately established himself as one of the smooth.
The Celtics is going for the W's, man. They are getting the right picks, aren't they?
The scores in the league. Over time, Tatum has developed into one of the most complete players in basketball thanks to his elite scoring ability, two-way impact, and overall versatility. Tatum has already led Boston to multiple deep playoff runs while stacking up All-Star appearances, All-NBA selections, and eventually the duo of Tatum and Brown brought the city of Boston another championship. And while players like Donovan Mitchell, Bam Adebayo, and De'Aaron Fox also came from this draft, nobody from the 2017 class compares to Jason Tatum. Shout out to Bam's 83 though. I can't believe this man scored 83 points.
The first pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Phoenix Suns select DeAndre Ayton.
Coming into the league, Ayton had drawn comparisons to all-time greats like the Admiral David Robinson. And at the time, Ayton looked like the perfect modern NBA center, thanks to his size, athleticism, and offensive potential. Phoenix hoped that he could become the franchise centerpiece they desperately needed, and honestly, Ayton got off to a pretty solid start. He averaged 16 points and 10 rebounds as a rookie while quickly establishing himself as one of the better young big men in basketball. Over the next few years, Ayton continued developing into a reliable starting center and played a huge role in helping Phoenix reach the NBA Finals in 2021. His ability to protect the rim, finish inside, and anchor the paint made him an important part of those Suns teams. However, over time, cracks in Ayton's game slowly started becoming more noticeable. Questions about his motor, consistency, and overall impact began following him throughout his time in Phoenix. And despite helping lead the Suns to the finals, Ayton never fully developed into the dominant superstar many expected him to become.
They thought it was going to be another Shaq.
Tensions between Ayton and the organization started boiling over, leading to him being traded to the Portland Trailblazers. And here, his struggles only became more apparent. And not long after, Ayton found himself bouncing around the league instead of becoming the franchise centerpiece Phoenix once hoped for. Now that his first season as a Laker is over, Ayton leaves a lot to be desired. He still shows flashes, but nothing near the dominant superstar a #1 pick is projected to be. Meanwhile, a guard from this draft class was quietly turning himself into one of the best players in basketball. Selected 11th overall by the Charlotte Hornets before immediately being traded to the Clippers, SGA slowly developed into an elite scorer thanks to his smooth handle, incredible pace, and ability to get to his spots effectively. Once he arrived in OKC, his game completely took off, eventually transforming himself into a now 2-time MVP and the leader of one of the best young teams in basketball. Shai's elite scoring ability, consistency, and overall impact have turned him into arguably the best player in the world today. He's currently on the road to his second championship in a row, and only time will tell how great his career ends up being. Shai's only real competition from this class is Luka Doncic, who in almost any other draft would easily go down as the best player. Luka's offensive ability is genuinely generational, but SGA's consistency, accolades, and ability to lead dominant teams gives him the slight edge for now.
Let us know what you think of that, guys. SGA over Luka.
Luka.
I put Luka as well.
I think it's because it's just a personal preference for me.
I think just ability. SGA is amazing. Obviously, he's got MVPs, but I don't know. I think as an individual standalone player, if you compare them like for like, I put Luka ahead of SGA. From what I've seen and experienced, obviously, you guys watch games more than us, and you could say better. But that's just my opinion on that. But SGA, incredible player, of course.
They both are.
Yeah.
But Luka,
With the first pick in the 2019 NBA Draft, the New Orleans Pelicans select Zion Williamson.
In 2019, the New Orleans Pelicans landed the most hyped up prospect since LeBron James when they selected Zion Williamson with the #1 overall pick.
So much
Zion
potential.
entered the league looking like a real-life my player.
Look at him, oh my God,
insane athleticism,
monster.
strength, and explosiveness. And despite all the injury concerns throughout his career, Zion has still managed to establish himself as one of the more dominant interior scorers in basketball whenever he's healthy. His ability to bulldoze through defenders while somehow still being nimble enough to move like a guard makes him nearly impossible to stop going downhill. And while John Morant has absolutely become a superstar in his own right, his off-the-court issues and unpredictability paired with injuries have prevented him from fully taking over the league the way he once was. Only time will tell with this class, but for now, Zion's ceiling and dominance when healthy give him the edge over Ja.
With the first pick in the 2020 NBA Draft,
2020
the
now.
Minnesota Timberwolves select Anthony Edwards from the
Oh,
University
yes,
of Georgia.
man.
2020 was another draft where the #1 pick was absolutely the right choice. I'm not going to waste any of our time. Selecting Anthony Edwards out of Georgia, the Timberwolves got their guy. Early on, there was questions about Ant's consistency and overall feel for the game, but it didn't take long for him to develop into one of the NBA's brightest young superstars. Ant-Man quickly became known for his out-of-this-world athleticism, fearless mentality, and ability to completely take over games as a scorer. He's already led Minnesota on multiple deep playoff runs while establishing himself as one of the faces of the NBA's next generation. While players like Tyrese Halliburton and LaMelo Ball have had great careers so far, Anthony Edwards still clearly stands above the rest of this draft.
Yeah,
He does.
he does.
This man
100%.
is a dog.
With the first pick in the 2021 NBA Draft, the Detroit Pistons select Cade Cunningham.
Cunningham's very good.
Cade entered the
Great
league as
player.
a polished all-around guard with elite size,
Fantastic
scoring
player.
ability, and high playmaking potential, drawing comparisons to one of the league's best, Luka Doncic. Although injuries slowed down the start of his career, Cade has continued developing into one of the most complete young guards in basketball, while single-handedly reviving Detroit basketball. Cade brought this team from being a 14-win bottom feeder to being a 60-win first seed in just a 3-season span. His ability to control the pace of a game while scoring at all 3 levels has quickly turned him into one of the league's brightest young stars. With players like Scotty Barnes and Evan Mobley also having strong arguments from this 2021 class, Cade's star power and all-around offensive ability simply give him the edge.
22.
With the first pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the Orlando Magic select Paolo Banchero.
In 2022, the Orlando Magic selected Paolo Banchero with the number 1 overall pick, and almost immediately, Paolo looked NBA ready. His mixture of size, shot creation, and knack for scoring quickly made him one of the toughest young forwards to guard in the NBA. Paolo wasted no time proving himself, winning Rookie of the Year after averaging 20 and 7 before continuing to develop into the leader of Orlando's young core. While the Magic haven't been able to make it past the first round in the Paolo era, it's certainly not from lack of effort. Banchero exploded for 45 points in Game 5 and went out with an absolute bang in Game 7, dropping 38, 9, and 6, but it simply wasn't enough to stop the Pistons. And while players like Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams have looked great as well, Paolo's offensive versatility and ability to take over games so far earns him the title as the best player from the 2022 class for now.
With the first pick in the 2023 NBA Draft.
How long has that guy been around for?
Who?
The one that makes the announcements.
Long time, clearly.
Yeah.
Guys, when did the announcement guy start? Like
how many years has it been?
2013.
Damn. Good for
San
him.
Antonio Spurs select Victor Wembanyama.
Do we even need to talk about the
Alien!
2023 draft? Victor Wembanyama is in GOAT talks at 22 years old. I don't think any prospect ever, let alone in the last 10 years, comes close to him. Wemby's impact on both sides of the floor is unparalleled. At 7'4", Wemby moves like a guard, protects the rim like an all-time great defender, and apparently can pull it from 28 feet in the clutch? Unless something completely unexpected happens, Victor Wembanyama is very clearly going to end up as the best player from the 2023 draft class. I can't believe there are people who would have taken Scoot Henderson over him.
With the first pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Zachary Rizache.
The 2024 draft class is one of the most interesting ones in recent history. From 2019 to now, pretty much every number 1 overall pick has lived up to or surpassed expectations in some capacity. That is except Zachary Rizache, of course, who is probably the only number 1 overall pick in history to be compared to a role player heading into the draft. Nonetheless, Rizache entered the league with tons of upside thanks to his size, shooting ability, and defensive potential as a wing. And while he's shown some flashes early on in Atlanta, it's still way too early to know exactly what kind of player he'll become long term, but it's not looking too good. The best player from this class so far has to be Stephon Castle. Selected 4th by the Spurs, Castle immediately established himself as one of the most impactful.
This video is legit. He's getting his facts right. We know Castle is a W, let's be real.
Definitely.
Rookies in the league, thanks to his defense, physicality, and overall confidence and aggression on the court. His ability to impact the game without needing to dominate the ball has made him fit perfectly alongside Victor Wembanyama and San Antonio's young core.
He's so good in that team.
He dominated in comparison to this pretty weak class, winning Rookie of the Year, and made a great leap as a playmaker and overall offensive player. He's been going off in San Antonio's current playoff run, having multiple 30-point explosions in the first 2 rounds. The sky is seemingly the limit for Stephon Castle. Obviously, it's still extremely early and things could completely change years from now, but as of today, Stephon Castle is the clear choice. And now we end up in the current day. Cooper Flagg is the most recent number 1 overall selection, and his NBA career is off to a historic start. Coop was pretty much the only reason to watch a Dallas Mavericks game this past season, and he's lived up to the astronomical hype placed on him. Some might say he surpassed it. As a rookie, Flagg averaged 21, 7, and 4.5 assists a game. His most notable achievement, though, was becoming the first teenager in NBA history to score 50 points in a game. This dude is my age, dropping 50 in the league. Man, it's gonna get real scary soon. But the craziest part is that he might not even end up as the best player in his class. Rookie standouts like Dylan Harper, BJ Edgecombe, and Con Kneppel all look incredibly promising. Harper is looking like a 10-year vet in his first ever playoff run. Edgecombe looks phenomenal, and Con Kneppel just led the league in 3-pointers made as a rookie while shooting 42% from deep. This class is insanely talented and also very deep. Colin Murray-Boyles, Ace Bailey, Trey Johnson, Cedric Coward, the list goes on and on. Only time will tell, and this class may just go down as one of the greatest ever. So, What did we actually learn from all of this? Well, we learned that being the #1 overall pick doesn't guarantee anything. For every Victor Wembanyama or Anthony Edwards, there's an Anthony Bennett, Markelle Fultz,
that
or
is
Ben
deep.
Simmons. Sometimes teams land a franchise-changing superstar, and sometimes the best player in the draft ends up being a guy taken during a Taco Bell commercial.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the NBA draft is one giant gamble, and honestly, that's what makes it so entertaining.
Good video.
Very good
video.
video.
Really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
That was some good facts.